Tantine Totemak, I would like to give thanks, honor, and care to the land upon which we are all celebrating tonight. This is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. I ask that we all give thanks to the 7 generations that precede and proceed our visiting of this land today, and that you take a moment, wherever you are, to situate yourself upon the Indigenous nations you are guests to. I am so proud of the extraordinary storytelling from the Indigenous peoples of this country and honored to be a part of this generation's storytelling excellence. My name is Joshua Whitehead, and I am an author.
I used to think prizes were divisive, unfair, and ugly until I won one. The Scotiabank Giller Prize is an incredible achievement for a Canadian author, and I would wish it on anyone. My name is Suvankam Tamavongsa, and I am an author.
Authors sometimes feel that we have a responsibility to our generation. We address wrongs in the world, we stimulate debate, we provoke. And when it all gets too much, we welcome readers to escape with us. My name is Ian Williams, and I am an author.
I once said, all writers feel struck by the limitations of language. When I won the Giller Prize in 1996, those words came true as I was speechless for once. Tonight, I'm honored to be here to remember wonderful Jack Rabinovich and to pay tribute to some of this year's greatest works of fiction. My name is Margaret Atwood. I am still an author. And welcome to the 2021 Scotiabank Giller Prize.
Well, this is it, folks. The night we have all been waiting for. It is, without a doubt, the most prestigious night of the year on the literary calendar. It's Giller time.
Margaret Atwood happens to be in the audience, what do I do?
Never look her in the eye.
Why?
She will knock you down. Tonight, 5 Canadian authors compete for the richest prize in Canadian literature.
$100,000 from our dedicated sponsor, Scotiabank. Yeah.
It's the very best thing can happen to a writer because the jury is your peers.
It's been the greatest privilege to get to know my fellow nominees and to be shortlisted with such brilliant writers.
It's not about celebrities, it's not about fame, it's not about bestsellers, it's just about books.
But I always think when I finish a book that I'm never going to write another novel anyway.
Writing fiction it's almost like professional voyeurism.
Anybody who writes a book of any kind is essentially an optimist because, first of all, they're assuming they'll finish the book, and they're assuming someone will then read the book.
The impact of the Giller is undeniable. Since 1994, this award has generated a phenomenal $60 million in book sales.
You have no idea how special this is for me.
Thank God for people like Jack Rabinovich who put it up front where it belongs.
Has there ever been a better time to get lost in a good book?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
In the immortal words of my dad, I know you've all been waiting for this.
For the price of dinner for 2 in this town, you can buy all the books. So eat at home and read the books.
Have you ever just given away $100,000?
Only to Revenue Canada, so this will be a lot.
And the winner of the Scotiabank Giller Prize is Live from Toronto, it's the 2021 Scotiabank Giller Prize on CBC, presented commercial-free by Scotia Wealth Management. During the next hour, the author of one of these 5 extraordinary books will walk away with the biggest prize in Canadian fiction. Our star-studded guest list includes such celebrated Canadians as literary icon Margaret Atwood, Academy Award-winning screenwriter and author John Irving, comedian and author Rick Mercer, international award-winning concert artist Misha Gossman, one of Canada's most popular jazz performers, Denzel Sinclair, the new host of CBC's Sunday magazine, Pia Chattopadhyay. From The Current, Matt Galloway. From Cross Country Checkup, Duncan McHugh. And from Q, host Tom Power and author and book critic Jael Richardson. Award-winning novelist Catherine Hernandez. Actor, writer, and producer Alan Hocko. The creator and star of the CBC Gem series, Sort of, Bilal Baig. The host of Canada Reads, comedian Ali Hassan. And previous Scotiabank Giller Prize winners, Suvankam Tamavangsa and Ian Williams. Tonight, we celebrate the very best in Canadian books and find out who will take home the $100,000 Scotiabank Giller Prize. And now, please welcome your hosts, Rupi Kaur and Paul Sun-Young Lee.
Hey!
Hello,
Look at all
everybody.
these beautiful people out there! Yes, give yourselves a hand!
Happy Gillers, everyone. Happy Gillers. Welcome.
Welcome, 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 everyone. Poet, artist, and performer, Rupi Kaur, everybody!
Thank you. And the incredible Paul Sun-Young Lee. Welcome to the 2021 Scotiabank Giller Prize. 28 years of celebrating the very best in Canadian literature.
Rupi and I are so pleased to be here live as your hosts tonight. And we've got a wonderful audience. Now, Edward Rogers' mother wanted to be here tonight, but Edward said no. And the judge backed him up.
And this is the first time in a long time that the Giller Prize has co-hosts. And what better way to come through the pandemic than with the two of us here tonight?
Oh, it's so great being back in a room with everyone vaccinated, tested, excited, where we can celebrate what we love most about literature without being nervous about anything. We can finally go back to licking our fingers to turn the pages in the books.
I'm so thrilled to be standing here next to you, Paul, truly, and so honored to be among our literary community. Honestly, I was pretty sure that I was gonna mess up a lot tonight because I was nervous and I was like, I have been in isolation for so long, I'm not sure I know how to socialize.
Oh, please, Rupi, you are beyond elegant. And besides, we're here with authors. They don't have any social skills.
This is true.
I'm just kidding. But really, Rupi, what an honor. You are a published author, poet, and very savvy on social media.
Thank you. And you're huge on social media too.
Well, I don't have 4.5 million followers.
Well, we can fix that. You know, what I've learned is that it's all about what you post.
Okay.
So here, take a look.
Yeah.
Here's me performing on my Amazon special.
Ooh.
And here's me with Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, I recognize him.
And here's me at Fashion Week.
Very cool. You know, my stuff is very similar to that, okay? Here is me drinking. Here's another one of me drinking again. Still drinking. And, oh, look, this is one of me in a Star Trek costume.
Yeah. You know what? We could work with this.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Now, I want to welcome everyone tonight, not just in this stunning room, but all of you at home watching us on CBC television, listening to us on CBC radio, and streaming us on CBC Gem, YouTube, Facebook, and cbcbooks.ca. Now, speaking of streaming, Scotia Wealth Management is presenting this show tonight commercial-free. So, if you want to take a bathroom break, go now. Because again, there are no commercials.
And for those of you checking out the Scotiabank Giller Prize for the very first time, here's how the night is going to play out. The Giller jury selected tonight's 5 finalists from 132 titles that were submitted by publishers from all across the country. And throughout the show, we're going to get a chance to meet all 5 authors, and in the end, one author will walk away with $100,000 and the prestigious award. And then everybody else will just get $10,000 each and an Uber voucher. And remember, don't forget to tip your driver. You know how testy Conrad Black gets.
Shots fired. This year's finalists for the Scotiabank Giller Prize are Canadians living all over the world, and all of them have come home tonight to be here with us. From Lagos, Nigeria, lawyer, academic, and author of The Son of the House, Chiluchi Onyemelukwe Onyeobia.
From Portland, Oregon, the author of What Strange Paradise, we have Omar Al-Akid.
From British Columbia, the author of the story collection Glorious Frazzled Beings, Angélique Lalonde.
From London, England, it's Ottawa-born playwright, filmmaker, and author of The Listeners, Jordan Tanigal.
And from here in Toronto, but originally from Steinbach, Manitoba, the author of Fight Night, Miriam Taylor.
All of these amazing places people have flown in from, it makes me miss flying all over the world and performing. It makes me want to travel again.
I am so desperate to go traveling again. If any of the authors have any extra room in their luggage, hit me up. I've lost some weight, I've gained some flexibility, I can fit in there.
And I'm coming with you. This year, we are at the beautiful Park Hyatt Hotel in Toronto, and through the night, we're gonna stop in live in the stunning Enriched Thinking Writers Lounge on the roof to check in with some very special guests. And I am especially proud to see so much diversity represented in the nominees and the storytelling this year.
I mean, look at the two of us hosting this ceremony. You're a Punjabi Canadian female poet, and I am not a published author.
It's not too late, Paul. You can start writing. What? And did you know that winning a Giller Prize can make such a big difference for an author? The average spike in sales for a Giller-winning title is 543%.
Wow, 543%. Man, that's weird. That's also the same spike in my kids' screen time during the pandemic. Anyone else? Their kids too? No, just me, my kids, okay.
Also, multiple Giller novels have been made into feature films and also for television.
Yeah, right. But none of these films or series feature 3-time Canadian Screen Award winner Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. I mean, come on. Where's Margaret Atwood? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Margaret, you couldn't have cast one bearded Asian handmaiden? Huh?
And look at this beautiful audience. You have me all hot and bothered. You look so good. What a glittering room. We have my amazing friend, John Irving, in the house. John recently became a Canadian citizen. Ooh. Round of applause for that, yes. John once said that if you're gonna be a writer, well, then you'd better have thick skin.
Oh, well, then I don't think you'll mind me saying, Mr. Irving, that I think your books are terrible. Just kidding, I haven't read your books. Rick Mercer is not here tonight. Now, he said, get this, he said he would never attend the show if he's not hosting. And I think that, oh, hey, Rick, how's it going? Yeah, we're just talking about you.
And Suvankam Tamavangsa is here. Happy to be out and about. Last year, she won the Scotiabank Giller Prize in an entirely virtual ceremony. She is still so overwhelmed after winning her award that she goes everywhere with it. I'm not kidding. It's her +1 tonight.
Now, before we move on, let's introduce you to the smoothest voice in Canadian jazz, Denzel Sinclair and the Denzel Sinclair Quartet. They are going to keep this party going all night long.
And also here to perform for us tonight, we have the extraordinary Misha Brugger-Gossman Lee.
Woo! And remember, everyone here tonight is a winner, except for those who don't win the prize. Tonight, we're here all night, folks. It's live TV. Here we go. Tonight, we're getting up close and personal with our authors more than ever before, as we look at their journey from being nominated to the Scotiabank Giller Prize.
Given the extraordinary locations that they live in, we asked each finalist this year to take us inside their lives by creating a video scrapbook.
Where do they write? How do they write? What do they do to escape and stir their creativity?
They shot these mini documentaries in their homes and in their neighborhoods and in their personal space. And I just have to say that as a writer, it is so brave of them to let us into their personal space and give us an insightful look into what their process is like.
Let's get started and meet tonight's first talented finalist. It's Omar El Aked with his novel, What Strange Paradise, a harrowing story about a global refugee crisis. The New York Times said this book deserves to be an instant classic, while the Giller jury called it unflinching and tender. Please welcome Omar El Aked.
What Strange Paradise is an inverted fairy tale of sorts. The Peter Pan fable reinterpreted as a tale of a child refugee. It begins with a shipwreck along the shore of an unnamed western island and a young boy who is the sole survivor. From there, the story alternates between what happens once the boy arrives on the island and how he got there in the first place. It's a book I've been working on in one form or another for the better part of 10 years, a book about what it means to set sail in search of the most basic prerequisites of a life: safety, shelter, dignity, and what it means to never land. My wife got me this typewriter-ish kind of keyboard. My typing slowed right down. It got me to think about what I was writing a little bit more, and everything kind of became a little more focused.
My name is Omar El Aked. I'm a writer based in Portland, Oregon, and my novel, What Strange Paradise.
This is Lake Effect. It's an anthology of student writing from Queen's University. It came out in 2003. It was the first time I'd ever been published. This is the story. It's called Dead Lions. It's not particularly good, but it was one of those moments where I stopped thinking about writing as this sort of hypothetical thing. I started thinking that I could base my life around it. But just to be clear, mine is the best story of the bunch. So this is my writing space. We live upland in a house on the property, and this is what we call the little house, which is basically just a shack where I write. The windows overlook the forest. On an ideal writing day, I will write in sort of morning, afternoon, and then I'll edit late at night, sort of past midnight. So one of the things I do long before I start writing anything is I'll start sketching out the thematic and narrative load-bearing beams of the project. I have these giant pieces of paper that I'll start drawing chapter outlines, character charts, thematic outlines. You know, in the case of What Strange Paradise, it's a very Old Testament, New Testament kind of book. You know, an escape from, an exodus from Egypt, and then a miraculous rebirth. So that tends to be about the first year and a half, just kind of laying out the blueprints before I dive in and start writing the thing. The only thing I really do for fun is rock climbing, and during the pandemic, I decided to build my own climbing wall. And this thing is a death trap. At one point during the building process, I had to Google the phrase, how to connect two pieces of wood, but it was a bit of a lifesaver when you're stuck at home for months at a time. I don't let anyone near it, but I'm quite proud of it.
Thank you, Omar, for sharing your story with us. Tonight, each finalist receives a custom leather-bound edition of their book to commemorate this honor, and I'm honestly a little bit jealous that I don't get one. Omar, here's your book.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you might be one of the only authors we've had at the Scotiabank Giller Prize with their very own rock climbing wall, which I think is super cool. Tell us, have you ever come up with a story idea while hanging in midair?
A very long time ago, I wrote a thoroughly unpublishable novel whose centerpiece was a 20-page description of a climbing sequence. And when I finished this thing, I was so proud of myself. I shipped it off to a friend of mine saying, you know, I've done for rock climbing what Hemingway did for bullfighting. And I got a note an hour later saying, this is the most tedious thing I've ever read. So that's when I learned that I should probably keep those two parts of my life separate.
Oh my goodness, thank you. Your book has moved me, and I know it's moved so many others as well. Thank you so much. Omar Alakid, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Now let's go up to the Enriched Thinking Writers Lounge. Paul, who have you got?
Hey, Rupi, check this out. What a view. Talk about an enriching experience. Now, I'm here with one of the esteemed members of the Scotiabank Giller Prize jury, Joshua Whitehead. Joshua, the Giller jury went from 132 submissions to 5 books nominated tonight, and eventually the winner at the end of tonight's live show. Can you give us some insight into that process? Like, how do you go from 132 books to 1?
A lot of caffeine, first and foremost, a little bit of nicotine, and then a whole lot of love for reading and kind of creating your own process of what you're looking for and how you want to experience it.
Great. And the winner was decided today, right?
That they were, like hours ago. So I'm terrible with secrets, so I'm excited for this to be done.
Joshua, thank you so much for opening tonight's show with the land acknowledgement. Now, for anyone watching, how can people help?
So folks can donate to the Indigenous Residential School Survivors Fund, also the legacy, which is called the Legacy of Hope Foundation, and also I would encourage you to donate to, if you can, the Native Sexual Youth Health Network.
Right. Thank you, Joshua. One last question, okay? Like, after tonight and after working with you on Canada Reads, I'm thinking about writing a book. Any tips on how to get on a future Giller shortlist?
Well, I will say get some sleep, and you're also such a great actor. So, see you soon.
Okay, well, thanks. Rupi.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Now that you've met Joshua, I think this is a great time for us to meet the rest of the Giller jury. The 5 brave souls who spent the past year reading and discussing and reading some more. And honestly, that to me sounds like a dream job. Here with us is 2019 Giller shortlisted author and the pride of Newfoundland, Megan Gale Coles. And this year's jury chair, the multiple award-winning author, Zalika Reed-Benta. Sadly, the other 2 jurors can't be here with us tonight, but a round of applause for the award-winning writers Tash Shaw and Joshua Ferris. Our next finalist is Angelique Lalonde and her book, Glorious Frazzled Beings. This story collection, focused on the themes of home and family relationships, was praised by critics for its visceral and immersive storytelling. The Giller jury just called the book astonishing and its author a beguiling literary voice. Please welcome to the stage Angelique Lalonde.
Glorious Frazzled Beings is a collection that explores the entanglements of home and beings intertwined in domestic love. The characters are at once strange and familiar, human and more than human, imagined and real, tender and vulgar, simple and complex, flawed, frazzled, glorious, lonely, and deeply beloved. The stories dance with one another in relationship and schism, seeking to make sense and give voice to the nonsense of embodiment, inheritance, and acts of creation that shape what we think of as real. Together, they form a love song to the homes we make, keep, and break.
Does the lady with the big head suffer from heartburn? It is hard to say because her body is such a mystery. Hello, my name is Angélique Lalonde, and I am privileged to be here on Gitxsan territory, north of Hazelton, BC. My book is called Glorious Frazzled Beings. My favorite time to write is first thing in the morning. I wake up at 5 o'clock so that I can have a bit of time by myself, and if I'm lucky, I get to watch the light come. I like to sit without lights in the blue light and continue that way until the sun comes up. From here, you can get a little glimpse of my writing desk and the view outside my window, looking out at the barn and greenhouse. I did not tidy it or clean it up ahead of time because I didn't have time, so you're going to see it as it is. Here you can see the setup of my morning ritual, a cup of coffee with my computer and my journal, and some things I like to keep around me on my desk, artwork sent to me by friends, some medicines, brass deer that my mom gave to me. For me, a lot of my thinking happens when I walk. So this is one of my favorite places to be. I'm sitting here in the roots of cedar tree near the Gossman River. And then coming into my room, you can see some of the artwork, some of the things that I've made. I think of this as my making space. I've included images of collages that I made in relationship to some of the stories in Glorious Frazzled Beings. There are two versions of The Lady with the Big Head, as well as a collage that relates to ropes of entropy, and a portion of this one was zeroed in on to become the cover of Glorious Frazzled Beings. Sometimes when you're writing, you need to take a little break and head outside and chop some wood, which is what I spend a lot of time doing here in the winter.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Angélique. Here's your beautiful leather-bound book.
Thank you.
Your book is in 4 parts. It's 4 movements of stories that are woven together. It's almost symphonic in its structure. Does listening to music inspire you while you write?
For me, the music that inspires me is the language and the music of the land. So the singing of the wind and the trees and the sounds of the river that some of you got to hear. So that's the music that I listen to when I write. But I did get these new work boots that I'm going to wear for my next wood chopping session. So I'm very excited about my trip to Toronto.
I love
Thank you.
them. Thank you so much. Angélique Lalonde, everybody. We're getting closer to finding out who is going to take home the $100,000 prize, but right now, let's go back upstairs to the Writer's Lounge. Paul?
Thanks, Ruby. We've got the stunning jazz club vibe going on tonight, so I think it's only appropriate that we hear a little bit of jazz, don't you? He is one of Canada's most popular jazz vocalists and is ranked amongst the finest jazz singers of his generation. He's performed in concert halls and festivals here at home and around the world. And he's collaborated with legendary icons like Wynton Marsalis and played with Count Basie Orchestra. Please welcome the Denzel Sinclair Quartet.
Thank you. It is indeed true that absence makes the heart go fonder, and it's so lovely to be in front of a live audience again, and not just a regular live audience, but an audience of a living library of legends. So, with that, a little music. 1, 2, I've got rhythm, I've got music, I've got my gal who cries for more. I've got daisies in green pastures, I've got my gal who cries for anything more. Old man trouble, I don't mind him. You won't find him round my door. I've got starlight, I've got sweet dreams. I've got my gal who could ask for anything more. I've got rhythm, I've got music. I got my gal who could ask for more. I've got sweet dreams, I've got daisies. I've got my gal who could ask for more. Old man trouble, I don't mind him. You won't find him round my door. I've got starlight, I've got sweet dreams. I've got my gal who could ask for more. Trouble, I don't mind him. You won't find him round my door. I've got starlight, I've got sweet dreams. I've got my gal who could ask for anything more. Who could ask for anything more.
Thank you, Denzel Sinclair, and all the extraordinary musicians playing tonight.
Our next book is The Son of the House, an immersive novel that brings you into the world of Nigerian culture. The Sunday Times called it a powerful and intimate narrative, while the Giller jury praised it as a modern novel with fairy tale elements and a delightful gift to readers everywhere.
On top of being a shortlisted author, she is a lawyer and an academic, and basically smarter than both of us. Please welcome Cheluchi Onyomelukwe Onyoobia.
Thank you. I am thrilled that The Son of the House is on the shortlist for the Scotiabank Giller Prize. The Son of the House tells the story of two women in a particular place and time who we find at first kidnapped and in a room. They tell themselves the stories of their lives to pass the time while they wait to be rescued. It is a story of gender inequality, but also the story of the ability of women and girls to survive and even thrive in the unfortunately prevailing context of patriarchy. A story of class divisions, but also the story of faith and friendship, and of courage and resilience. I hope readers come to it for good old-fashioned storytelling, which leaves room for reflection on what we can do to make the world a more equal place for all. Thank you.
So this is Lagos. It's a bit humid, much more humid than it is in Canada in October. My name is Cheluchi Onyomelukwe Onyoobia, and I am the author of The Son of the House. When I work, I sit right here. My TV is just over there, and sometimes I listen to the TV while I write, and makes me feel like I'm not working really hard, which sort of makes writing a bit easier. And most times when I'm serious about writing, I also read. I read different books, different other novels that help me process my thoughts. Here we are in the library, another place where I do quite a bit of thinking and reading, and where I come to get inspiration just looking around at my books. This is also a comfort zone for me. Growing up, I spent a lot of time in my dad's library, arranging his book and so on. And now, as a lawyer and an academic, I also do a lot of reading, but my calling is writing. Sometimes when I work, I also do a little bit of walking around, stretching my legs. I find that helps me process my thoughts and helps me think a little bit better. Lagos is pretty much brown earth, but still coming out here helped me look at the earth. This helped to sort of center me and remind me of the places and even the people and the greenery in the places that I talk about.
Chiluchi, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming all the way from Nigeria and being with us.
Thank you.
Now, you actually divide your time between Halifax and Lagos. I can't think of two cities that are so different. Can you tell us which location inspires you the most?
It's very interesting, but the son of the house had another part that preceded the parts that we have, and it was actually set in Halifax. So there are two different places. One is very busy and very noisy, has a lot of traffic jam, but a lot of vibrancy, a lot of fashion, a lot of inspiration. And the other place is quiet and friendly, and sometimes you have the sun shining, but it doesn't quite get to the ground. So lots to inspire in both places.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you
Chiluchi
very much.
Onyemelukwe Onyeobia, everybody.
Thank you.
Paul, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I think we're doing a pretty great job at being hosts.
I agree. Thank you. I love our chemistry.
I'm going to be honest with you, though. Like, I didn't think you were going to be ready.
What?
I mean, I think the behind-the-scenes footage from our photo shoot says it all. Roll the tape.
Great. Repeat. Shoulder back.
I'm so excited to host the Gillers.
Me too. I love the show. We go every year, and this year I get to host with you.
This is actually happening. I've done so much prep.
Prep?
Yeah.
What kind of prep?
Reading, researching, meeting all the authors for coffee. What about you?
Well, I've been so busy shooting. I'll be right back.
I'll share my notes.
Oh, it's cool. Giller books! I need the Giller books!
Sir, we're closing soon.
Come on, they gotta be. Ooh, graphic novels. Got it. Need it. No, I'm not here. Rupee. Oh, 2. Ooh, 3. And Heather's picked 2.
That's not a Giller finalist.
Well, it should be. Right, Mark? Come on. Yes! Gillers!
Attention Indigo shoppers, the store is now closing. Please bring your purchases to the front.
One down, 4 more to go. Wonder what time they open at.
Our next finalist is Jordan Tannahill's novel, The Listeners. With just his second novel, critics are praising his latest work as sharp, tense, compelling, and a true page-turner.
And the Giller jury says it's masterful, proudly labeling its author as both poet and philosopher. Please welcome Jordan Tanigal.
While lying in bed next to her husband one night, Claire Devon hears a low hum that he cannot, and it seems no one else can either. What begins as a minor nuisance eventually unravels Claire's life entirely. The Listeners explores the seduction of the wild and unknowable, the human search for the transcendent, the rise of conspiracy culture in the West, and the desire for community and connection in our increasingly polarized times.
It is myself I have never met, whose face is pasted on the underside of my mind. It's one of the best lines in Western drama. I'm Jordan Tanigal. I'm the author of Listeners. I'm at home here in London. Usually put on some music in the mornings, and I sit down at this table here. I look out the window as I write. When I'm working on a play, I like to read plays, I like to watch plays. And this morning I was reading this book by Martin Krim, and I found this line that I have to share with you. What film do you endlessly project in the deserted cinema of my mind? That's a real craft, isn't it? To be able to craft a line that just sears into someone's memory.
I live in Hackney, which is a borough of East London. A big fixture in the queer scene here in East London are raves. And raves offer a space for the libidinal, the ecstatic, space to be something other than yourself, to explore your sexual narrative, to explore what it means to have a body. I would say rave culture especially has impacted my writing of Listeners. The question I come back to over and over again in my work is, what is it to have a body? It might seem like a bit of a basic question, but for me it's infinitely complex and fascinating. What does it feel like to be alive? What kind of pleasure does your body seek? And what are the political dimensions of that? How has history imprinted itself upon your body? These are questions that I don't think have actually any definitive answers. And so it's a kind of endless pursuit of reckoning with these questions. I pretty much come to this park, Victoria Park, coming here to work out bits of dialogue, work out scenes. I'll try to figure out how a character speaks, how they argue, what their syntax is, and I'll sometimes just be playing these things in my head or even just like verbalizing them as I walk. So yeah, not a lot's changed.
Jordan, congratulations. Here is your book, completely bound in leather.
Thank you, Paul. I will treasure it.
That's great. Now, no, come back. I got a couple of questions to ask you. Now, conspiracy theories play a large role in the novel. What drew you to explore this phenomenon?
Well, I was interested in how a number of conspiracy theories had become mainstreamed in the Western political landscape in the last 5 years, and how they might divide a family or indeed a community.
Right on. Okay, well, thank you so much. Jordan Tanigal, everybody. But first, Ruby, you're in the Enriched Thinking Writers Lounge, and I see you've got someone who's a great friend to the writers
That's right,
in this
Paul.
country.
You've either seen him on the stage, on TV, or heard him on the radio as a host of Canada Reads, Ali Hassan. Ali, you come back to the Gillers every year. Can you tell us why it's so important for you to be in the audience?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the bread that's served at the table, at the meal. My wife has me on a restricted bread diet, and the Rabinoviches and the Gillers in general have more respect and decency for me as a human being. I've actually had about 8 pieces of bread. I feel awful right now. But mainly it's to celebrate literature. It is the greatest event in this country. You know, alongside Canada Reads. I can't bite off the hand that feeds me. Let's not be crazy here. But along with Canada Reads, the Gillers, it celebrates literature in such a fantastic way, and it is such a feel-good event, and it does so much to raise the profile of writers in this country.
I couldn't agree more, Ali. Back to you, Paul.
Our last finalist tonight is the acclaimed Miriam Taylor. Now, she has won prestigious literary prizes, including the Governor General's Award for Fiction, and her latest novel, Fight Night, marks Miriam's third time on the Scotiabank Giller Prize shortlist. The Giller jury says Fight Night is compellingly crafted and a testament to her astounding grasp of the narrative voice, while the LA Times wrote that it is the Ted Lasso of novels. High praise. Please welcome Miriam Taylor.
Thanks. I wrote Fight Night for my grandchildren. I realized they probably wouldn't have a memory of their great-grandmother, my mother, Elvira, my family's fearless leader, showing us all how to fight, how to love, and how to have a good time, even and especially in life's endless swirl of grief and pain. The narrator is 9-year-old Swiv, short for Swivelhead. She is given an assignment by her grandmother to write a letter to a person who may or may not ever read it. Swiv discovers, like every writer does, what she's writing against: lies, terror, chaos in the mind, darkness. But she's a funny kid, anxious and brave, and she also begins to understand not only what she's writing against, but what she's writing for. First person or third person? My editor suggested I pick one and stick with it. Good editors are precious. My name is Miriam Taylor. I'm in Toronto, and the title of my book is Fight Night. I like to write in the morning after coffee. I use an old laptop. Usually I sit at the kitchen table, though sometimes I'll use my lap as a surface, or the stovetop, or I'll hide out in the basement. For inspiration, I often look to the past. I think of my family, of my previous selves. My family, absent and present, has always been my core inspiration. I wrote my first novel in a leaky, unfinished basement, and launched that book in a hair salon in Winnipeg. I put this Wanda Coupe painting on the wall. It's a grain elevator in the prairies, where I'm from. Music every day. And I return to this book over and over, Reading, Writing by Julian Grach. Perhaps all that counts in a novelist is to know at all times how to grasp the current of life carrying her, the life of the current, which, as soon as the riverbed winds, will collide with one riverbank and then the other, always blown off course, always decentered, never concerned with decoratively steering the middle course.
You're welcome. Miriam, that was delightful. Now, your books get terrific reviews. Do you read these reviews?
I get bad reviews too, and I know the prevailing wisdom among writers is that we don't read our reviews, that we shouldn't read it, but you know, I'm human, and I do read my reviews from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
mean the internet, you know, it's hard not to. I had a review once where, and the reviewer said the most beautiful music to his or her ears was the sound of the thud that my book made when she or he threw it into the return bin at the library.
Oh, well, joke's on them, 3-time Giller shortlist.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Miriam Taylor, everybody. Oh, what a night, what a night, what a night. We are minutes away from finding out who will take home the Scotiabank Giller Prize. Let's get the inside information on what it's like to win. Rupi?
Paul, I have one of my favorite authors here with me, and we're both here representing Brampton, Ontario tonight. Brampton is in the house, and we are not going anywhere. He won the Scotiabank Giller Prize in 2019 for his debut novel, Reproduction, and he just came out with an essay collection titled Disorientation, Being Black in the World. Ian Williams, thank you so much for joining me in the lounge.
Oh, so nice to talk with you, Rupi.
Ian, when the envelope is open and they call your name, what does that feel like?
Oh, well, first, like, something breaks in your mind and it empties out, right? You lose all thought. And then there's like, no, this isn't happening. Yes, this is happening. But you know, no matter how much I prepared for it, there's no actual like preparation for that moment. What happens is you realize this gap between what you dream for and the realization of that dream, and you're never quite prepared to step into your dreams.
I totally feel you. Thank you, Ian, for being here. And let's get back to the ballroom for the big moment.
Thank you so much, Ruby and Ian. Now, we are so honored to have our next guest here tonight. She's one of the leading sopranos in the opera world, a recording artist whose albums run the gamut from jazz to gospel. She's also an author, a director, and a Canadian treasure. Here to perform with the Denzel Sinclair Quartet, please welcome the incomparable Misha Brugger-Gossman Lee.
This one goes out to my 95-year-old voice teacher, Mary. It was just one of those things, just one of those crazy things, one of those bells that now and then rings, just one of those things. It was just one of those nights, just one of those fabulous flights, a trip to the moon on gossamer wings, just one of those things. If we thought of it at the end of it, when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that our love affair was too hot not to come down. So goodbye, my dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things. Yes, it was. Hey. It was just one of those things, am I right? Margaret Atwood. Oh, I also had one of those things with Rick Mercer, but I don't want to get into it. It involved a whale. A right whale. A right good whale. If we thought of it at the end of it, when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that our love affair was too hot not to come down. So goodbye, my dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun. Oh, it was great fun. But it was just one of those things.
That was beautiful, Misha. Now, before we reveal the winner, let's meet the two people without whom this night could not be possible.
Please welcome to the stage Scotiabank Executive Vice President John Doig and the Executive Director of the Scotiabank Giller Prize, Ilana Rabinovich.
Thank you, Rupi and Paul. You've done such a great job tonight. And I can't thank you both enough for being here. John, I also want to thank you for Scotiabank's continued support of Canadian literature. We could not do any of this without you, and we are very grateful.
Alana, thank you very much. We're always happy to be part of this incredible event, and now more than ever, help raise awareness for the remarkable literary talent this country has to offer.
I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our media partner, CBC, for championing the work of Canadian authors and bringing tonight's events into homes all across the country. Special thanks to our friends at Audible, whose support of Canadian authors and narrators continues to grow every year. It's been a challenging year for a lot of us, But anybody who's in a position to help can start by doing what my father, Jack Rabinovich, always encouraged ever since he started this prize 25 years ago. He always said, and if you know it, please join me, for the price of a meal in this town, you can buy all the books. So buy the books and eat at home.
That's awesome. Now, to announce this year's winner, please welcome last year's winner of the Scotiabank Giller Prize, Suvankam Tanavongsa.
The winner of the 2021 Scotiabank Giller Prize is Omar El Akkad.
For the next couple of minutes that will be very, very awkward, you will realize that I didn't think I had a chance in hell of this, and so I'm making the speech up as I go along. For the past few months, I've had the incredible honor of being mentioned in the same breath as 4 outstanding authors, any of whom could be standing up here right now. It is by far the greatest honor of my career. I'm deeply grateful to everybody at Scotiabank and the Giller Prize for making this happen under such difficult circumstances. There are a few people at that table right over there, including Jared Bland, Scott Sellers, and my agent, Ann McDermott, who they believed in this book when a lot of people didn't. I'm deeply grateful to them. I was talking to my mom earlier. The last time she was in a room watching me win an award was 31 years ago, which is distressing by anyone's standards. Mom, this is yours. Everything's yours. I'm also deeply grateful to my wife, Teresa, who is at home taking care of our 2 kids so I can run around playing boy author. A very long time ago, my father told me this story about growing up in El Hussein. It's an old neighborhood in Cairo, and watching Naguib Mahfouz hold court. And it was the first story that I ever saw about the writing life. I miss him very much, and I'm honored to accept this in his memory. Thank you. Literally no idea what to do with myself right now. I'm shaking your hand, but also hoping.
Congratulations to Omar, the winner of the 2021 Scotiabank Giller Prize.
And congratulations to all of our shortlisted authors and, frankly, all the authors out there. Keep telling Canadian stories.
And special thanks to Misha Brugger-Gossman Lee and to the Denzel Sinclair Quartet.
And to all of you for tuning in and supporting Canadian literature.
Good night, everyone, and happy Gillers.
Happy Gillers. Denzel, take us home.
Tofu and greens, give me some fried tofu and greens with a side order of rice and fava beans. Tofu and greens, I'm on a new veggie regime. I've got myself a new source of protein. I got tired of all the beef about foot and mouth disease. No more fish and fowl, pork, crazy cow, just give me some tofu, please.